the right to be awesome, because we're about to talk about Psycho Cop Returns from 1992. Let's do a quick rundown of why I picked this movie. First of all, shout out to one of our super fans, Tom, who has been writing in every year requesting this movie for Listener Submit It Month, and no one would pick it except for me. And I finally was curious enough to watch it, and I said, we have to talk about this movie on the podcast because, yeah, you know, like the first hour is just a softcore porn, but
the first hour is a softcore porn.
Yeah, exactly.
You answered your question right there.
It is something. This is from the man who brought us The Invisible Maniac and then decided to actually have a good film career and made Detroit Rock City.
And Small Soldiers, so very well-rounded individual.
I did like Detroit Rock City. I really did.
I know you did. That's why I said that. That was for you, buddy.
I appreciate it. Remember when I thought Kiss was good?
Yeah. Oh, I do. So this movie starts off, you got these two guys, they're sitting at a restaurant, and the one guy, it's like the most neurotic guy you could imagine mixed with like the most broy douchebag that you could imagine. And the broy douchebag swears that if anything happens at the party, he's going to take the blame. Listeners of a certain age who might not know this, never trust anyone who says that they will take the blame, because they are not your friend. Yeah, they're not going to. They will throw you under the bus so quickly. He says other things, but you couldn't understand them because for some reason it keeps cutting to the Psycho Cop eating, and it is the most distorted slow motion version of whatever words are coming out of his mouth I've ever heard. It was indecipherable. That's our intro to the three main characters of this movie.
The best part of that
is them talking about throwing a party.
You got the grass? Shut up!
Those two dudes have some interactions that are like out of this world.
Boy,
because
do
like,
they.
Dude, you've got like the one guy's just like, I don't know, man. I think that the cops saw us.
He's like, he didn't see nothing.
He's like, I don't know. It looks like he's tailing us, man.
Consent is subjective.
But yeah, like these guys, they're like walking down the street, just having this argument over if the cop's following us. I know the broy guy at one point's like, what is he, the walking police? Whoa, jaywalking.
That guy's walking faster.
Like, it is,
I can say the N-word and not be racist.
That is exactly what that guy would be like.
100%. The dude breaks some serious HR issues with the woman.
Oh my God, he's insane. Like, this is workplace harassment. Like, basically every don't assault your coworkers or like harass your coworkers HR video is this guy.
Do you think that they funded this movie by promising to let them use some of the footage for those HR videos?
No, but I think that they funded it by not paying the strippers.
Yeah, that's also possible. The beginning of this movie, though, we jumped ahead just a little bit because the Psycho Cop walks out of the donut shop or wherever, and he walks into his car, and he adjusts his mirror, and there's bloody pentagrams just all over his mirror. And then we just get like 3 minutes of the shittiest garage rock and body part close-ups of everything that's just chilling in his cop car.
Mm-hmm. Boy, is there a lot.
Dude, and that I was fast-forwarding through those credits after a while, and that was like 2 minutes of fast-forwarding through credits. It is drawn out.
I'm so glad that I'm not the only one who was fast-forwarding this week.
I watched it at 1.5.
Those strippers were fast.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who I do love in this movie, and that's old Gus. Gus, the security guard. That dude's he's just a kind old man. They walk up, they're like, hey, we're going to have a party. And he's like, you have your party, kids. Live it up.
Yeah, go have fun. I'll be down here with both my eyes and my face. Nothing will happen.
And he's like, he's so kind even to the cop. Like, the cop clearly is unhinged. He's like, is that the game? Because I can't get it in my radio. He's like, come on in, the more the merrier.
I got beers. Let's drink them.
That was not beer.
I say we just turn this fucking Patreon on its head one day, and 1 month, all three of us pick Dead Man on Campus. But just put Brian, Dead Man on Campus, Scott, Dead Man on Campus, Matt, Dead Man on Campus, and see who wins. See who gets the most votes.
It'll probably be Matt because everybody feels bad about,
my everything.
Matt is a god.
I will say that one of the things that actually annoyed me just from watching the movie is the one stripper who they get into the elevator and she's like, "What floor are you on?" And then she just hits all the elevator buttons. Because I know that's supposed to be like, more sexy time for me in the elevator? But I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to take the stairs. Because
way to make my penis flaccid immediately.
The thing that I don't get is that, like, they're strippers. They're not prostitutes. But they are going to have sex with these guys.
Yeah, they are.
They're just super turned on by them. I mean, wouldn't you be?
Yeah, do you see those pleated pants?
But let's talk about this bachelor party, right?
So I made the mistake of trying to watch this in an unprotected location, and I watched none of that scene.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what you missed out, because the bachelor party...
Boobies and butts.
Well, it basically... So the girl's dressed as a cowboy dancing in front of a projector of an old 70s stag film. So it basically just looks like a Walmart version of a Rob Zombie music video. It's basically a Bobby Zombie video is what it looks
Bobby
like.
Zombie?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty fucking good.
But then we've got, I don't remember any of the characters' names except for Brian. Brian, the super neurotic guy, because I was cheering for Brian the whole movie. But then the one dude's just like, he gets in the elevator, and the elevator gets stuck, and he just goes, "I've got those beautiful babes upstairs."
I have that note written down too. We're just about to get to the point where all the one-liners, like the shitty zingers, come in. But before we get to that, we're missing out on the those two people that are not part of the party, but they're gonna like bang in the fax room or whatever.
Their entire character storyline is they are trying to have sex at work. That is all that they've done from the second you meet them to when they have oily sex to death. Like,
when we started seeing them, it was morning. They've been trying for 12 hours to fuck.
And you think at this point, like, everyone's gone home. I don't even know how it's difficult anymore.
Who cares?
They like freak out because the elevator door's open, and then they're like, well, I guess we should give up our trying. The elevator door's opened. They closed again. No one's there. Like, this has been so important to you for 10 hours. Just get it done.
Do you know how bad your blue balls would be if you were grinding up against someone that you wanted to bang for 12 hours?
This office in general is outrageous. Like, they have no HR department. None.
No, they don't.
Mm-mm.
The first stripper, I did have one thing about her. And I feel bad saying this because it probably ruins Matt's double feature, but the only thing I could see when I saw her outfit was Keanu Reeves in Freaked.
No, I'm still going, but yes.
Or basically anybody from a Primus video.
Yeah. I have a theory about this movie, and I think when they shot this movie, right, they brought in the actor to play the psycho cop, and they had like maybe one zinger written down for him to say.
Oh, and he was like, I got some ideas.
And then they were like, riff a little and we'll pick the best one. And then they just used the whole reel. Because he's just walking around.
Keep an eye out for me. I've always been good at killing time.
Yeah.
I suspect foreplay.
No. Oh, God, man. Now I have blue balls. Because he sniffs the panties. He picks up these panties and he sniffs them and says that.
It gets worse as he kills more and more people because it's just like, oh, I've got so many good ones and so few people to use them on. So he's just like walking around chasing the girl with the axe at one point, and every word out of his mouth is just a zinger. Like, he's just like, here's Johnny. You have the right to remain dead.
None of these? Anyone?
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Yeah. You know what would have been perfect for this is if it was so meta that he was like
looking to the director?
No, not that meta. There's nothing out there. So if it was so meta that he was a psycho cop who is moonlighting as a comedian, but he's such a bad comedian that he's like he's a psycho cop because he can't make people laugh.
I mean, if that was what they did, this would have gotten 11 nominations by the Oscars.
Oh.
Heard that. Wish I didn't hear that, but I just heard that.
Take that, Joker. Bam. So my favorite kill in this movie is when I watched a mannequin get thrown off a building directly into a dumpster.
You're missing so much other shit though. Like, oh, is that before or after the oily sex scene that's oilier than the sex in Amityville? It's About Time.
I was like, as I'm watching, I'm like, man, this is some sweaty sex. What was the other movie with super sweaty sex? Speaking of which, our good friends at Vinegar Syndrome just put out a random box set of like all of the Amityville movies from 3 on. So, I might be putting that in my next purchase when I go to a convention.
I could watch It's About Time again. That movie was pretty fucking fun.
And like that collection of Amityville movies, they're not good movies. I'll start with that. They're all bad movies. But like Amityville 4 and beyond, they're just trying. You know what I mean? Like it's like a killer lamp movie.
Yeah, everything's a killer something. Yeah,
like I'll give them a shot.
Yeah. My saving grace for this movie is, do you know who the psycho cop is?
No.
Bob Vance Refrigeration.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah. It's weirdly enough, I found it out because I thought he was someone else. I thought he was one of the henchmen in Dumb and Dumber. And
I can see that.
It wasn't. It was not.
That means I just remembered that I forgot to mention, by the time this comes out, it's been almost a month, but on our Patreon episode for the Apple, Mr. Tops in the Apple, who plays God, was the villain in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
What?
Yeah. That floored me when I saw that.
And that wasn't your double feature.
I know. Maybe. Oh, fuck. That's what my double feature was that I couldn't remember. Oh, Patreon listeners, you finally get that reward a month later.
I have failed you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Curses. There's a lot of like, this movie's not good. Let's start with that.
No.
Let's start with like, of the 2 movies that Adam Rifkin made under his pseudonym Riff Coogan, which makes me think of Freaked every time that I say it. This is no Invisible Maniac.
Invisible Maniac is so much better. I mean, I was just wishing that this was Invisible Maniac the entire time I was watching it.
But there's some stellar moments in this movie still, and the
Really?
big one for me is
Let's
when there's
say
there's some scenes that like.
Oh, I know what part you're gonna talk about.
Yeah. But, like, there's scenes in this movie, and I hope that I'm not stealing anyone's double feature, and even if I am, don't say anything and just pick it anyway. But
I don't have any
there's
until the
some
end.
acting choices that are very, like, Dude Bro Party Massacre 3-esque, almost entirely with Brian. Like, Brian feels like he's just ripped out of a satirical parody film and just thrown into this movie. And there's a scene where he's trying to prove to them that people are being murdered. And they're walking around in this office and they keep searching for the bodies. And then all of a sudden blood starts to drip on the ground and there's a gigantic bloody pentagram on the ceiling.
Can I do this line?
Can say the line. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was right. I've never been right. Now I'm right.
Yeah, as the ceiling collapses and this body just falls down.
Incredible.
The other thing that I actually like about this movie that I will say is an improvement on Invisible Maniac.
The boobs?
No, well, I mean, sure. But Invisible Maniac, as much as I love that movie, the kills are very, like, with the exception of the sandwich being shoved in someone's throat, a lot of it's just, like, trauma level, we put a watermelon under a wig and just smashed it, and that's like a head being smashed. But the gunshots in the back of the heads in these actually look really, like, they're gnarly. Like, it's a big-ass, like, gory chunks spurt on the wall both times that it happens.
Yeah, they did with those 2 kills. Every other kill sucked, but those 2 kills were actually competent.
Yeah, like I was like, that is from a different movie. I don't know who shot that, but they got fired after the first day for costing too much money.
Yep.
But then, so it gets down to the final 2 girls. Brian is still alive despite being shot in the arm and bleeding profusely, and then he gets axed in the back, and then we find out that he's still alive because I don't know, I guess it's again back to Cannibal the Musical, just unkillable. But the cop chases the main girl into the street, he starts choking her out, and then thankfully he's right outside of a bar that's just loaded with riot bats, and they just pass out the bats and go beat the shit out of this cop. And like what is, I'm pretty sure, supposed to be like an homage to the Rodney King.
Yes.
Oh, see, I thought it was like I in 9th grade tried to recreate the ending of Casino. but
Gotcha.
not knowing how to use a camera. Like, that's what it felt like.
Well,
But
Brian,
I guess Rodney King would make more sense.
Yeah. Brian, let's talk about, well, this was also before Casino, so that would also be an issue.
You know, it's Hollywood. You don't know what movies came out before what. Everyone's a time traveler nowadays.
That's true. Brian, have we ever talked about the worst thing I've ever shot for a school project? With me riding the bike?
Yes. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on air.
We haven't talked about. I don't know about this, so
okay. So I had a project. I had a project for summer reading. You had to do a presentation about one of the books, and my friend Crispy and I were like, "Let's make a short film based on this book." We had read somewhere about the concept of, I think it was in one of Lloyd Kaufman's books. It was about like driving scenes and how like the cheap way to do a driving scene is that you have the actors in the car, but you shoot it at like an angle where you can't notice what's going on past the windows. And then you just have people kind of shaking the car back and forth. So it looks like the car's moving. And in the book, the kid's riding a bike all the time. And I was like, we got to figure out a way to do that. So our idea was to put an exercise bike in the middle of the street and film me riding this bike. But the way that Crispy shot it was just a wide shot. So it's just me pedaling my heart out, but never moving past the house. Like, it's just a house behind me.
Oh, man. And
I took an F on the project because I was like, I'm not showing this to the class. Like, I refused. So I was like, I would rather fail than have this play in front of class, because it was like freshman year, first assignment. I was like, I can't. No, this can't be aired. It'll destroy me for the rest of high school. And you know what? It got me kicked out of honors English and back into academic English, but it was worth it because I was able to survive high school.
Did you, though?
No, I was fairly well liked in high school.
I feel like you died in high school and the rest of your life is just like a fever dream. It's like Jacob's Ladder.
I mean, that could actually have happened. But no, I do not have the hatred towards high school that most people do. It wasn't the greatest time, but I wasn't like, I enjoyed myself.
You had Jinko jeans, bleach tips, ska music, and Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you saw that picture.
Yeah, I sure fucking did.
So at this point, I'm watching the movie. I'm like, all right, the riot bats, the Rodney King tape. I think this is the movie's over. And then we cut to the scene where they're in the hospital. And this, again, is where Brian is in a completely different movie than the rest of the people in this movie, because he tells a joke, and the way he reacts to his own joke is, again, Dude Bro Party Massacre 3. Like, he's just like, ah! And he's like flailing his arms in bed, and everyone's just like, ah! And then the camera like pans down the hallway, but in the background you still just hear like, ah! And then it's revealed that for some reason, because this happens in horror movies all the time, and it doesn't make sense to me, let's bring the barely alive person who tried to kill two people into the exact same hospital just 2 rooms down from the victims, because that's not going to cause any emotional scarring on anybody.
That was room 666. Well, like I didn't watch Psycho Cop, so maybe I'm missing a.
Neither have I. I'm pretty sure that the director and writer of this didn't watch Psycho Cop. They just.
Well, what's the pentagram stuff though?
Let me see something. I'm going to check something.
I get nothing from him that says a Luciferian, cultist who kills people for sport. All I see is shitty Freddy Krueger wannabe quipping and stuff. I don't know.
I'm going to just read the plot synopsis because it's only 2 paragraphs on Wikipedia for Psycho Cop from 1989. 2 lost newlyweds stumble into the site of a ritualistic murder of a woman by Joe Vickers, a corrupt police officer and serial killer who's also a devil worshiper. Vickers murders both of them. The next day, 3 couples travel to a mansion that they have rented and are given a tour by the property caretaker, who is later murdered by Vickers. Upon noticing the caretaker's disappearance, the couples go looking for him and encounter Vickers, who reassures them by claiming that the caretaker injured himself chopping wood and is now recovering in the hospital. That night, Zach leaves to get a beer and is killed by Vickers. Vickers proceeds to butcher Eric, Julie, and Sarah. Doug and Laura realize that Vickers is the culprit and are chased into the forest, where they are found by a pair of policemen, Chris and Bradley. Before being killed by Vickers, the officers reveal he is really Gary Henley, a discharged psychopathic patient who has somehow infiltrated the California Police Department. Lara is pursued by Vickers to a clearing containing crucified bodies of Zach, Julie, Eric, and Sarah. Lara shoots Vickers with his own sidearm, and he is unaffected. Vickers is finally defeated and seemingly killed when he has a sharp log thrown at him through him by Doug. Emergency services greet Doug and Laura at the mansion. Vickers recovers, and a newscast announced further evidence indicates that he is actually an escaped psychopathic killer named Ted. The film ends with Vickers smiling evilly at the camera.
So that sounds like a way better movie than this.
Probably. We can watch that someday.
I'm not suggesting we do that anytime soon.
But, you know, we've got at least another 10 years in us. I'm sure we'll get around to it.
Well, I mean, you guys are blood relatives, so you're not, I mean, every time, if Brian's like, you know, Matt, I don't think I want to do hamster style anymore, you're going to be like, sure. And then, you know, fucking every holiday, you're going to be like, so, hamster style. Until he just, and Brian's such a weak worm that he's going to be like, okay, I'll come back.
Yeah. I'll just be like, hey, that new guy that we got that replaced you, he's no you. You want to come back? Then I'll call up Crispy and be like, sorry, dude. It's just not working.
Poor Crispy, like, such a sweet dude, and he's just...
Oh, the nicest dude. He's and that's why. And he knows. He knows. I only pick on him because he is my longest friend and one of, like, the nicest people I've ever met. Any other notes for Psycho Cop Returns? No. Good. So, double features. Who's got it? Oh, I picked this one. The acting in this movie reminded me right out the gate of a specific film that I have loved and promoted heavily, and we've talked about recently, Serial Insane Clown Killer. I think Serial Insane Clown Killer is the perfect movie to watch right along with Psycho Cop Returns, especially for the broy douchebag, because he just sounds like all of the broy douchebags in Psycho Cop Returns.
All right. I mean, I'll go, but I'm going to do Maniac Cop.
Ooh.
Well, we could do it up even more and do Invisible Maniac, Maniac Cop, and Psycho Cop Returns.
There you go.
And then we could really round out the night with some reruns of Cops.
Yes. And then write our own film called
Super Troopers.
Maniac Invisible Cop.
Wow. That sounds awful, and I would absolutely be part of it.
Yeah.
Call up fucking Mike James and be like, we got an idea for you guys to 5-second films.
Yeah.
That's about how much traction we think we can get with this one.
Yeah. Well, I guess that if I was the movie that
you're under arrest. Who said that? Credits.
That is a 5-second film.
Yeah. If you want to hear more stories about cops, check out our Patreon, where we're going to be talking about police stories that we've encountered. Continue, Scott. Your double feature.
When I was watching this, I was thinking of The Ranger from 2018, which is not like a really good it's not really a movie that I would want to watch again, but it just kind of had the same feel. I would watch that more than I would watch Psycho Cop 2, you know, if I ever had to watch either of them a second time. But if I was trying to like redeem my night, I'd probably go with Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, just because that's like the aloe vera to the burn that is watching Psycho Cop 2. It is the Pepto-Bismol to the indigestion that Psycho Cop 2 gives me. Basically, like, I could say...
reach out to Mike James and see if this was, like, one of... Because I know that there's, like, so many movies that they watched while writing that, and I have a feeling that Psycho Cop Returns may have been...
I don't know. He might be like, we smoked a lot of weed. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Fair.
Matt, we didn't watch every movie. You can't email us every week asking if this played a part.
No, they're too nice.
Hey, did you guys happen to watch Gnaw 2, Food of the Gods?
Because we noticed one character's named the same name as one of the people that pops up in Dude Bro Party Massacre. Yeah, Mike is a very common name, man. Stop writing.
Hey, this character was really silly in this movie we watched, and you had silly characters in your movie. No, Matt.
Yeah, but it could be, right?
No, Matt, we didn't base that scene off of the film that you shot with your friend Crispy. Are you sure? It feels very influenced by it.
Hey, I just watched the Banana Splits movie, and I was wondering if you guys wanted to come to my birthday party. It's at Chuck E. Cheese.
I know you'll feel like you're out of place there, but I'm telling you, the pizza is fantastic.
I won 100 tickets, and I got to go home with a ring.
All right. Anyway, so what did you guys watch this week that you want to promote or give a thumbs up to and say, check it out?
I will go last.
Okay, then I will go first. Scream Factory put out a beautiful Blu-ray of Let's Scare Jessica to Death, which I highly recommend for any fans of like 70s horror films. It's probably one of my favorite lesser-known 70s horror films, but I've always really enjoyed Let's Scare Jessica to Death, so I was excited that got a Blu-ray because it was kind of hard to find for a while, and definitely something that we will be discussing in the next year, so I'll keep it to a minimum. But also Shout Factory put out Body Parts on Blu-ray this very recently, and it is amazing. All right, Brian Brian said he'd go last.
So
Scott.
I want to talk about Secret Life of Pets 2.
Woo!
Yeah, better than the first one. I thought.
Damn, I was wondering if you were going to talk about something. That's why I wanted to go last. I didn't know if I was going to piggyback off you, but
no, I actually I like the original better. I thought that this was fun and not. I think that the cat stuff was really funny, but I don't know. I feel like it was a more cohesive. It ran. The pacing was better.
Yeah, I still don't think that those movies are. And like I love kids movies. I will.
Yeah,
see
I have to
every
rewatch it.
I enjoy The Secret Life of Pets, but they always just feel more like a series of vignettes than an actual plot line. And I agree with you that this one did a little bit better of a job, but I think both those movies have like zero stakes.
Oh yeah, but that's why I like them, because the biggest thing for me is kids movies, the stakes are always too fucking high. You're watching fucking, Finding Nemo and you're like, oh God, and it's giving me a panic attack. And no, I want a movie where it's like, oh, they have to go get the toy from the cats. That's gonna be cute.
Yeah. I think the issue was I saw the first one in theaters, and like I can't remember if it was days or a week before I saw Finding Dory. It didn't compete with that. I did hear, which probably makes it hard to make these movies, but Dana Carvey was on Howard Stern, and like they're not, I don't know if it was just this movie or all animation movies currently, but like they no longer record together. So like
it's it's a big deal when they actually do.
Yeah.
Like the new Lion King, they had like Seth Rogen and Billy whatever Billy's last name is.
Billy on the
Timon
Street.
And Pumbaa. Yeah, Billy on the Street. They record it together because like Jon Favreau was like, you can't have these two guys who are supposed to be best friends and can finish each other's sentences. Like having them record separately doesn't make any sense, and it would ruin the chemistry between them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of the animated films now, they'll fly in the actor, they'll record all their lines, and then they'll call it a day.
Oh, and
is that scheduling or cost?
Probably both.
I think it's a little bit of both. Because like even the BoJack Horseman, like when I was listening to the BoJack Horseman commentary track, the woman who voices Princess Caroline from Strangers with Candy has never met Will Arnett or any of the main cast members because she lives in New York. So they just send her the script and she like sits at her computer and records all of the lines of dialogue for that season and mails it to them, and then they put it where it needs to be for the show.
This is like, for me, with social anxiety, that sounds like my dream job. You get to act, but you don't have to talk at people.
Yeah, I mean,
we may have found your calling. Get into voice acting.
Oh, if you think that this is the first time this has come up in my life, why do you think we do a podcast?
Why do I do a podcast? I have a terrible voice for a
because
podcast.
You're funny.
You've got good wit.
You're funnier than us.
I take the hits. I'm like, let me set Brian up to make me sound like an asshole because he's so good at burning me.
Oh, stop it.
I watched The Color Out of Space with the Nick Cage one. It is so good. It's amazing.
I've seen someone say that it is the best like Lovecraft adaptation that they've ever seen.
Really?
But I don't know enough about Lovecraft to be able to say anything.
I think that it really hits the beats that Lovecraft is about, but I haven't read Color Out of Space in a long time, and I've also seen so many mediocre adaptations of his work that I'm just like, I'm not.
It doesn't take a lot to be in the top 5.
Yeah, and also it doesn't
for
take
that,
a lot for me to be happy with a Lovecraft movie that doesn't suck ass.
Did you guys watch or happen to hear about Medical Police?
No?
No.
Oh man, I am really digging Medical Police. It's a new show on Netflix, and it is a spin-off of Children's Hospital, where literally the first 10 minutes of the episode is just an episode of Children's Hospital.
What's Children's Hospital?
And then it was a show on Adult Swim. It's by David Wayne.
Who's that?
He did Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they become these two doctors fall into this super secret agent thing and are forced to pretty much be an FBI, but no one's allowed to know about it. And it is the great, ridiculous David Wayne. It hits on Matt and Scott's sweet spots with stupid puns. My personal favorite is the one guy that they end up working with, who is Cool Ethan, Jason Schwartzman, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
So he is he has this secret agent van, and they go back and they're like, "Wow, you have a computer with a GPS tracking system in here?" To which he replies, "You damn right. Not even Ryan Reynolds could make this van wilder," which I thought was great.
That's the dumbest fucking joke.
I
hate it. But I feel like Jason Schwartzman can make anything so groan-inducing that I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's so corny that it's a great show. And then New Curb is fucking awesome. And I don't know if anyone watches Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I don't have to. We live
great.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give a shout out to my one coworker I hung out with, and he showed me a British show that's on Netflix called The Toast of London that I sent a clip to Brian as well.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's about a struggling British actor, which, you know, that's pretty much all the setup you ever need for British sitcoms. It's like, hey, he's struggling and he's an asshole. Enjoy. But the one clip I sent my brother was that he gets booked to do a voice acting gig that has only one line, and the line is the word yes. And it's like a minute and a half of him in the studio as they're just giving him notes. And they're like, can you be a little bit more upbeat with these? He's like, yes. Yeah. And they're like, you know what? Throw away the script. Have a little bit of fun with it. Have a little bit of fun with it. And he's like, you're right. It's only one word. I don't need the script. And he takes the script away and he's holding it off. And then you see him like look at the script real quick. So it's definitely wacky and weird and super low budget. Like there's scenes that feel like they're shot in like a black box theater. It's pretty good. I enjoyed the 4 episodes that we watched because, again, British comedy, quick and in and out. Like one season, 6 episodes that are like 15 to 20 minutes apiece. It's perfect. All right, so that was Psycho Cop Returns, picked by me from 1992 or 93, depending on what website you're looking at. We'll be back with even more horror movie night stuff. I've actually finally realized that for the last 5 years, we could have just been putting all of our social media information in the descriptions of the episodes. So go and check out the description of the episode to find all the links to all the different things that we have, the Instagrams, the Twitters, our website, our Facebook page, etc. But tune in next week when we look into another sequel. This has been a sequel-heavy year. It's one that we've twisted Brian's arm to pick, and holy shit.
It's not a bad...
No. Next week, Scott and I will be at Monster Mania. So come to Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, say hi, give us some high fives, buy some shit.
Hug, no kiss.
And have a good time. Yeah, no kiss. There's a bunch of people we're excited to see. Rin's going to be there from Denver is flying out, which is cool. I think Rain's going to be there. There's a ton of great people that have always been super supportive, and we always look forward to seeing you guys at Monster Mania. And also, it might be our last Monster Mania.
It will
Who knows? Don't want to say. It most certainly will be. So if you've been planning to meet us at a Monster Mania, that's probably the one to go to. So you got a week to get your tickets and buy planes.
Yes.
Buy a flight. Buy a plane. Just fly
and boy,
in.
my arms are tired.
Land in Philly, say, I'll pick it up on Sunday. And then go about your business. All right, guys, thanks for listening. And also go over to the Patreon, listen to stories of when Brian, Scott, and I have had to deal with being pulled over by the police. Only one of us has been arrested, I think. But
nope, 2 of us.
Okay. I'm the odd man out, I guess. All right, bye.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.